Hey, what's the deal, people? It's your boy Big Star Raw Sports here, man, with another classic episode of Legends Week here on Raw Sports, man. This is Off the Court Legends Week tonight, and it's a season 5. I appreciate, right off the top, man. What's up, big dog? I see you, man. Oh man, I see my man Ray Carroll just joined. I just saved I saved the intro for Ray. Hold up, 1 second. The legend in the building. My guy, can you hear me?
Okay, I think we good now.
You think I knew you were old head, but you ain't that much of an old head. I
You
know
know
you get
what?
the technology together.
I was having some technical difficulties there for a second.
That's
Hey,
that class of '95, man.
that's that 95, man. You understand what I'm saying? All of this technology is something different to us. I tell you what, I knew I would get it together quickly, man. Let me say, before we do anything,
Yes, sir.
what an honor it is to be on this platform with you, man, and what you have done as it relates to sports, using athletics as a vehicle to improve the character and overall morale of young people. I'm honored to be in your space, brother. This is evidence of favor.
No doubt. Thank
Now,
you. Thank
for
you.
some reason, my volume is sort of low. Baby, can you turn it down a little bit more? Give me a second, King.
Yep. Yeah. Either you just turn the volume up on your phone, or but I can hear you crystal clear though.
Beautiful. Man, always awesome, man. I mean, you and I need no introduction, man. We already have a
We got
foundation.
history, man. We have an amazing foundation. We got history, dog.
Man, glory, glory.
Hey,
I
well,
know my time is yours, man. I wouldn't rather be anywhere else
no doubt.
on my born date.
Well, I
Yeah,
just
my
want to say,
family is
some kind words back to you, man. One, I just want to thank you so much for your time this evening, man. I know time is so valuable. Thanks so much for joining me for Legends Week, man. Thank you for your contribution to the game. Thank you for all that you've given to Pennsylvania and beyond in the form of mentoring. Thank you for in your coaching journey. Just thank you, man. And Legends Week here is two main goals and objectives. One, I never want anyone to forget about the Ray Carroll legacy. You know what I'm saying? I don't ever want people to forget about those amazing things that you gave, entertaining the people night after night, for the Clippers. So this is my contribution and my gesture to pretty much, help to solidify your legacy. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're coaching or whatever at the barbershop, I don't want young kids to walk past you and just be like, oh, look at old head. No, pay homage. That's Ray Carroll right there. That's the guy. You know what I'm saying? The same place that you guys are trying to get, he's already been there. He laid the foundation, one of those guys. And two, this whole thing, man, is just all about bridging the gap for this younger generation, because I promote current, these young athletes now in high school, trying to do some of the things that you guys have already done. So it's really good for those young guys to watch these interviews so they can hear from you guys' story. They can learn from you guys' story. You guys are, almost like a Q&A. You guys are answering questions for them guys. Some kids may be going through the whole recruiting process now, and you'll talk about your, what led you to Fordham. And some kids are like, wow, I needed that. You know what I'm saying? I need that encouragement. So, that's what it's all about, man. Just bridging the gap, giving the kids education, and just paying homage to guys like yourself, man. And it's a ministry for me. I love it. It's been a great response, man. And I just, I'm just pleasure to have you, man.
Man, likewise, man, likewise. And you know what? This platform is one thing, but I told you earlier, man, as it relates to you, you improve my space, man. I'm big on, as it relates to mentoring and things of that nature. One of the biggest pieces of advice that I would offer to a young person is to take very seriously your space.
Yep.
You're the CEO of your space, and fill it with individuals that push you in the right direction, because you only have the capacity to level up to the tune of your surroundings, man. So even, outside of this platform, you represent a level up for me. Someone that make me a better father, a better husband, increase the capacity of my character, man. I'm honored to be in your space on this platform, but period, point blank.
My God, appreciate you, man. Hey, well, I got so much ground I want to cover with you tonight, man. So we're gonna get into it. First thing is little housekeeping. Instagram, they only give us hour chunks to talk. So if we're coming up on the first hour, we'll just end this one. I'll end it, save it. And then, like in 30 seconds, we'll just do the same thing over. Just rejoin me, send me another request, and we'll just pick up where we left off. That's the first thing. And at the very end, we're gonna have a nice little Q&A. Just let the people, people start typing questions. They'll ask you some questions, and we'll just let the people interact with you as well.
Man, I'm game. Yes.
No doubt. All right, so we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna get into some fun real quick. 10 random questions. I'm gonna just run off 10 random things to you real quick, just to kind of get us warmed up before we get into your story. Is that all right?
Oh, no problem at all.
All right. So going back to the 80s, we both class of 95. So, we grew up, in late, mid 80s. That was our era. You know what I'm saying? Cartoons, wrestling, all that kind of stuff. So growing up, what was one of your favorite cartoons growing up?
Cartoons. I'm going to have to go with the great Bugs Bunny, man.
No doubt.
Yeah. Clever, witty, hilarious. Yeah, that was one of my favorites. You know what? We grew up. We became teenagers in the 90s, but I think my cartoon era was more 80s.
Yes,
where I was, really into the cartoons. But Bugs Bunny was my guy.
For sure. Most points you ever scored in the game at any level? I mean, summer league, high school, college, anything. Most points you ever put in the box score?
Now, officially under the whistle in high school, it was 35 points. However, in summer leagues and unofficial games, things of that nature, I'm sure I put up a whole bunch of points on several occasions.
No doubt.
And I thought about that. I saw a couple of other interviews, and I want to make sure that all the information that I give you is accurate. 100%. So I don't have an accurate number as to the most points that I've ever scored. I know it's above 50, though, in some summer league and or AAU games, but I can't designate exactly how much and when.
Yeah.
But officially under the whistle was 35 points in high school against St. Ray's.
No doubt. Your favorite sports-related movie of all time? Blue Chips, whatever, just a sports-related movie of all time. One of your favorites.
Fish That Saved Pittsburgh.
Legendary, classic. Dr.
J.
J.
Oh, my goodness. No question. Mighty Pisces.
That's right. Going back to the 80s, one of your favorite wrestlers growing up, like NWA, WWF, one of your favorite wrestlers growing up?
Well, okay, I have two.
Okay.
Character-wise, it was the Hulkster.
Gotcha.
Right? But as it relates to athleticism and skill set,
yes,
Ultimate Warrior.
No doubt.
Yeah, so Ultimate Warrior was my favorite wrestler in terms of skill set, but as far as character and just the persona, I was a Hulkamaniac, brother.
No doubt. No doubt. So when he was addressing the Hulkamaniacs, he was talking about you.
No question.
No doubt. Who's one of your players that you admired coming up, whether it's in your peer group or guys a couple years older than you, from the Chester area, Philly area, just anywhere, high school, when you was coming up, who'd you admire? Somebody you like?
You know what? I had a unique situation because we played under Alonzo Lewis.
Okay.
And at the time, I was in 7th grade at Main Street Elementary School.
Mm-hmm.
He was the head coach of Chester High School, and he was my social studies teacher.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, when you talk about the rich history of Chester, I don't want to leave anyone out. Of course, Zane, we admired Zane. We knew who he was. He was our GOAT of that time. But for me personally, Keith Wood was my idol.
Yeah.
He wore number 43.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, once I played varsity at a younger age, so I didn't get the choice of preference as it relates to number.
Yeah.
And I wore number 40 with pride.
No doubt.
Because of Keith Wood. He actually wore an unusual number. It was 43. But he had the complete package, man, an offensive juggernaut.
Yeah.
And he was low-key, laid-back, silky smooth, man.
Yeah.
I mean, one of Chester's finest. I mean, he was probably one of Zane's idols as well, because he was a senior when Zane was a baby. Zane was a sophomore. But the guy that I grew up wanting to mimic was Keith Wood as it relates to a Clipper uniform.
No doubt. And I'm going to definitely get Keith Wood on. I've connected with him on Facebook, but I'm going to definitely get with him because Zane, just like you said, Zane praised them. And I saw a clip of when they played against somebody at Westchester, I believe Glenn Mills, and Keith Wood, just like you said, silky smooth. He kind of looked like he was on some like Michael Jordan. He went to the basket and did something up under the rim type of thing, athleticism and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, the things that I saw him do under the whistle were playgroundish.
Yeah.
You know, I saw him come down in official games. I mean, playoff type action where, you know, every possession is valuable.
Yeah.
He was coming down doing 360 dunks in games. I mean, he was poised under pressure.
Wow.
You know, yeah, Keith Wood, man. And there's a bunch of guys. I mean, if we can, the list it just goes on and on, man. There were so many different people that poured into me as it relates to basketball that, you know, it would be unfair for me to begin to name because I would unquestionably leave somebody out.
No doubt.
So if we're going to designate a one athlete in particular that, you know, was my mark of excellence, I'll say Keith.
No doubt. What other sports did you play growing up, if any, besides basketball?
I played basketball, baseball, and football.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, so up until 9th grade, I played all three sports.
Okay.
Even at Chester High, I played football and baseball.
Okay.
Along with basketball. And in fact, a bunch of people in Chester would argue that I could have potentially been a much better quarterback.
Oh, no doubt.
Than I was a basketball player. But at the time, the talent level was so high in Chester that it was kind of an unwritten rule that you had to make a decision, you know, as it related to basketball at least. I mean, at that time, we had 50 to 100 guys trying out for 12 uniforms. I'm probably underestimating. It could have been more. You know, so it was an unwritten rule, and there was a lot of accountability that we had to show during the summers that didn't allow us to necessarily attend football camp.
Got you.
I was actually an MVP of Chester Youth Baseball League.
Wow.
As a 12-year-old.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was the major league division. I played for a team. I played for a man called Pecky. Pecky was a baseball coach, and he was for Catania was my team.
Gotcha.
And yeah, so baseball, we played in that era. A bunch of us played all three sports.
Gotcha.
It wasn't unusual for guys to play baseball, basketball, and football. Soccer is pretty new. That was pretty much it for me. Those three.
Gotcha. Who was when you kind of think back over your journey at any level, basketball wise, summer league, during, you know, under the whistle or anything? Who was one of the toughest players you had to guard? I mean, somebody that just gave you fits, man. Somebody that, you know, it wasn't fun, but you just gave him props. Y'all probably hugged afterwards and just gave each other mutual respect. But somebody that was just a tough guard for you.
Oh no, not yet. Thank you, baby. I would say Donnie Carr. Donnie Carr was a tough guard. He was, you know, I was a stronger player. You know, my strength was an asset. I could shoot it. And to be honest, we'll talk about that as we go later on into the interview. I don't believe that I've reached my full capacity. I don't think that the world ever got to see the best Ray Carroll as a basketball player for a lot of different reasons. But as it relates to the matchup, he had a tough handle. He had combination moves and go-to moves. A lot of the Philadelphia guards, us being Chester guys, we were gritty. I mean, we played off of moxie and heart. But we didn't have a lot of the skill development programs that were accessible to those guys back then. So they played with more of an IQ. We just played for blood, right? So that was the difference. And his skill set and size were a problem a lot. And I didn't face him too much in high school under the whistle, but we played a lot against each other in the Sunny Hill League and in Total Response, a lot of different leagues in the Philadelphia area. And believe it or not, I believe my dad, who was with me at all times, you know, he took us. We were up in the Philadelphia area playing a lot. And that was really a big part of Chester's introduction into the Philly circuit. A lot of guys will probably co-sign to the fact that that was the beginning, because prior to that, Chester's always been filled with talent and a rich basketball history. But we weren't really on the radar as it relates to Pennsylvania. And, you know, Philadelphia was more or less the hotbed.
Yeah.
But we always felt like, you know, we were just as competitive and had just as much talent. But we didn't, you know, we weren't on the same microscope.
Got you. What was the biggest your favorite rival during your Clipper days? Favorite school rival, favorite team rival?
Glenn Mills, unquestionably. Glenn Mills.
No doubt.
Glenn Mills.
Two more questions. Your favorite NBA player growing up?
I was a Jordan fan.
Got you.
I was a Jordan fan, but as it relates to me trying to apply a certain skill set to myself, I love Mitch Richmond.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, Mitch Richmond was a guy whose game I examined a lot and I studied, because I felt like, you know, my full potential was probably going to be on that make and model. As far as the way he played and scored and how effective he was, you know, with his body type and style of play. But I was a Mike guy. I was a Jordan fan, no question.
No doubt. Last question. Besides the clip joint, what was one of your favorite gyms to play in? Like a gym where you was like, oh my God, we played there Friday, or it's playoff states, we play at this gym. What's one of your favorite gyms that you enjoy coming out and playing in during your high school career, you think?
Oh man, you know, there's no comparison to the clip joint. You know, so, but I'll tell you what, Penwood had a small gym. What did they call it? What was it called? They had a nickname for it.
I'm not sure.
Matchbox?
Okay.
I want to say. But it was a small, tightly packed environment, and they had some pretty animated fans that were dedicated to the team. So it was a tough place to play, because everybody's right.
The shoebox.
The shoebox. And you know, they most times when we came to play against Penwood, because of the size of the gym, it was standing room only.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, you go out of bounds, you bumping into fans.
Yes, no doubt. That's what's up. Hey, well, we're gonna get right into it, man. Just like I tell all the legends, man. Oh, hey, shout out to a legend. We got my man Marv O'Connor in the building. That's Street Bangers. That's Marv O'Connor right there. Another legend, man. Shout out
Marv,
to the guys, man.
Ultimate love and respect to Marv O'Connor, man. That's my guy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Look, that's another offensive juggernaut.
Yeah.
Did it all.
Yes,
you know, I mean, and those guys come, that whole program, man, we'll talk about that later.
That's right.
But with Philadelphia, we beat most teams from Philadelphia in my era. We played and we, you know, we competed. Ultimate love and respect to the pub, but we never beat Gratz. They were well coached, solid, prepared, and you know, we'll talk about it. I don't want to go into too much detail now.
No doubt.
We got plenty of time, but ultimate respect to Marv, man. I mean, all of them. Rel E. Hood, that's my guy, my brother. Man, I mean, it's just the history is so rich that I'm definitely going to need you to help me navigate through, man, because as it relates to myself in basketball, I could talk for months, you know. Right? So I'm going to need you to put some...
that's what I was about to say. As it relates to the story, we're about to get into it. So with the legends, man, I just want to respect your space and respect your voice and wherever you want to go with it, you know what I'm saying?
That's Max that they beat us at the Clipper tournament.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know, you know, I know him to have a high level of integrity.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to stamp that.
No doubt, no doubt.
If we play that game 10 times, we win 9.
No doubt. Hey, so what I was about to say was, you know, I just want to give you the freedom just to kind of tell your story. I don't want to navigate or kind of pigeonhole you into, you know, as far as questions. It's up to you. I can either ask you questions or just give you the freedom to tell your story, and I just kind of interject along the way, whatever you want to do.
Man, it doesn't even matter. I mean, whatever, however the chemistry flows most
All right.
effectively.
Well, how about this? Let's just start us out by if it's any younger players watching, just reintroduce yourself to the people, and just start us out by just letting us know where the Ray Carroll story begins, and just start there.
Oh man, well of course in Chester, man, I have to start with my parents and myself. I have a unique scenario from my home growing up, as I have no brothers or sisters. So it was just myself, my mom, and my dad. And my dad was, as it relates to athletics, a staple, always there with me from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So Chester Biddy is where it all began. In fact, before Chester Biddy, it was the Harlem Globetrotter record, and my cousin Leroy and myself shooting layups with a hanger that we created, and the sock was the hoop.
Of course.
So we put the Harlem Globetrotter record on, right? And we do the moves that we saw Metallark Lemon and those guys doing. That's where it started.
Y'all was in the bedroom with the do. Y'all doing your moves.
Man, don't make me get up, man. Look, and my cousin had the initial passion for the game.
No doubt.
That was my big brother. I looked up to him, right? And that's where my fire was lit with him. And so we started there, and then from there we went over to Chester Biddy.
Mm-hmm.
And a situation that I can point out that stands out to me is when I was 5. I was playing Chester Biddy. They allowed me to start playing at 5.
Gotcha.
Typically, you're not supposed to start playing until you're 6.
Mm-hmm.
But based on the fact that I was bigger, I guess I had a certain level skill set, they let me begin early. And it was the 6, 7, and 8-year-old division. And I begged my father to take me over to a foul shooting contest with 6, 7, and 8-year-olds. And I was 5. And at the time, he had no idea if I could even hit the rim.
Yeah.
And I wound up going over, and I made 7 out of 10 free throws.
Wow.
And I won the contest at 5.
Wow.
Yeah, 6, 7, and 8-year-old division. And that's something that sticks out in my memory. That was a big booster for my confidence. I mean, I still wasn't necessarily that much into it, but at that time is when, it was recognized that, well, there's something there innately.
I got you. Hey, is that is that around the time that you kind of fell in love with the game? At what point do you think you kind of fell in love with basketball in particular?
I would say around 8 years old,
mm-hmm.
because after I played at 5 and 6. At the time, everyone had to play a quarter
mm-hmm.
in Chester Biddy.
Gotcha.
If your parents paid the fee,
of course,
you had to get. And if you weren't of the higher skill set, that's all you got was their quarter,
gotcha.
Right? And I was getting my quarter, man, for the first couple of years,
no
right?
doubt.
And that wasn't any fun to me, man. I took a break from it, and I played at 5 and 6.
Okay.
And I didn't come back until I was 8.
Mm-hmm.
I came back at 8, and my height and size, I was a heavier kid, kind of caught up with my coordination,
mm-hmm.
and I fell in love with the game simply from having a lot of success
mm-hmm.
as it relates to the game. I came back, I was big and strong, I was able to apply some of the things that I was seeing, and I was always playing with older guys.
Gotcha.
So at that point in time is when I really fell in love with the game. I played for Lucille Payton. That was the sponsor of our team, and my coach was Joe Holman
mm-hmm.
at the time. He's a mentor, community leader, well-respected man back then as well as now. He had children as well that played in the Chester Biddy League, but that was when I really fell in love with the game. Was at 8 years old.
Got you. And at what point, like, these days, parents and, they're getting their kids involved with the trainers. They got the skills and drills, the cones, how was it back then? How were you developing your game as a young guy back then? Were you just playing, or did you have a little trainer? Was your dad working out with you? How'd it go?
Yeah, no, man. I say these guys, now everything's changed so much. I think that in some respects, a lot of different parts of the game have, I hear a lot of times older guys will complain about some of the fabric of the game that's missing, as it relates to the intestinal fortitude and things of that nature. But the skill sets of these players individually are a lot higher.
Mm-hmm.
We had no skill development, man. My dad actually put a court, a basketball hoop in the backyard
Mm-hmm.
of my aunt's house. And that's where we played, in the alleyway,
Yeah.
right? That's where we honed our skills. But there was about 12 or 13 of us
No
that
doubt.
had to share,
No doubt.
right?
Yes.
So, you know, you lose, you one
With
and
one
done
ball.
with one ball, with one ball. And so we played practice. We practiced for Biddy League. We played on the asphalts, right? Later on in life, I'll talk to you about some of my experiences that improved my game
Mm-hmm.
on the asphalt, playing in different environments, and some of the relationships that I developed from Biddy League that took me to another level as it relates to my skill set and approach to the game. But no, we had no skill development.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
It was just we played 5-on-5. There was really, that I could remember, there was no individual workouts that were readily accessible to us back then.
Gotcha. Gotcha. At what point did you start to realize, or did your dad start to realize, or your peers, you hear people talking about you like, yo, young boy, pretty nice. At what point did you realize that you were getting pretty good, either better than your peers or just kind of rising above, or just a solid player? You know what I mean?
You know, Biddy League was a time where I knew that I was an above average player,
Uh-huh.
but there's a couple of different levels, and a lot of guys that played Biddy, that are basketball guys will tell you, you see a lot of kids peak in Biddy League.
Mm-hmm.
So at times it can be a false sense of success as it relates to a kid's skill set. So I'll say when I really truly knew that I was a formidable competitor was when I reached Chester High School. And in 9th grade, I played JV.
Uh-huh.
So at Chester High, at the way that the Chester High culture and norms are, if you play junior varsity as a freshman, you're one of the elite players.
Gotcha.
And if you play varsity as a freshman, you pretty much are, on another level as it relates to your ability, because there's only one school, 12 uniforms, and hundreds of players that are thirsty and hungry to play and compete. So when I went into the 9th grade and was chosen to not only play, but start on the JV team, and pretty much at the time I was playing for Fred Pickett, he handed the keys to the car to me.
No doubt.
To the JV team as a 9th grader. At that time I knew, well, this is something that I have an opportunity to be pretty good at.
Yeah. Did they hear about you, like from the neighborhood or in the Biddy League, like with Fred Pickett and them come down watching the Biddy games and, kind of seeing who was on their way up and this and that? Or you just, during the tryouts, that's when they saw you?
You know what? Now that I think about it, they probably did have us on the radar. Exactly. From Biddy.
Yeah.
It wasn't known. It wasn't a known entity.
Yeah.
As it is today.
Uh-huh.
Right? So I'm assuming that they probably did their homework, and that was the Chester Biddy sort of served as a grassroots program. Mm-hmm. For Chester High School. I'm assuming that had to be a reality, but it wasn't something that I was aware of, that anyone was aware of. Yeah. As far as we knew it, we were all coming in pretty much with a clean slate as 9th graders.
Gotcha.
And in high school, now that when you look back, and I recall some guys that competed on a high school level, like I know Damian Hunter and his brother.
Twins, yeah.
They didn't play Biddy League, so guys had a formidable opportunity whether you played Biddy League or not. But I'm sure that Chester Biddy served as a grassroots program where they went and observed the upcoming talent.
Of course. Hey, so jump to this is a fun conversation. I always like to know. I mean, you have an impeccable memory, just like Donnie Carr. Guys could just recall this stuff like it happened yesterday. Take me through some of your most memorable summer league memories, like you mentioned, like Sunny Hill, positive, total response. Just tell me about some of your memories, players you played against, things that happened. Just talk about those memories, man.
Oh man, I mean, where do I pull from? I mean, we played,
so many, I'm sure.
Played, in the summer, my father often took on the responsibility of driving us to games in summers. Uh-huh. So we competed as a group. At Chester High, we played up at Gusting Lakes. We didn't have a team in the Sunny Hill League, but I individually played in the Sunny Hill League. My father would drive me up after he found out that that was a place where it was a lot of talent. He made sure that he got me there to compete against what was quote unquote the best athletes in the area, right? And then I got there to realize that, you know, a lot of the guard talent that we had in Chester was just as formidable. But my dad would intentionally take me into those places. If we talk about some of the fondest memories, man, I recall, I mean, I love Coach Alonzo Lewis, you know, Fred Pickett, man, I know those guys gave us their best. I probably had the most fun playing for Greg Downer, coach from Lower Merion, man. We played, going into my senior year, we played in the Keystone State games.
Keystone games, yeah, for sure.
For Greg Downer, man, and we had a monster squad. We won the Keystone State games.
Tell me the roster. We can run down the roster because I already know it was probably crazy.
But we had myself, Randy Maltsby, Eric Evans, John Linehan, Rashid Broken Barrel, Andre Howard, Trevor Johnson.
Dre Howard from Harrisburg? No.
Andre Howard played at Overbrook.
Overbrook, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
And St. Joe's. Oh, man, yeah, he was the original stretch four.
Wow.
He did it all. He could handle the ball, was strong shooter. You know, Broken Barrel needs no introduction.
None at all. Lucky lefty.
And believe it or not, that was a fond memory for me because I won MVP of the Keystone State games, but I was the first basketball player in Keystone State game history to win Athlete of the Year.
Wait, what?
The Keystone State games has, you know, I guess skiing, boxing, baseball.
In all the categories, like including all the categories, you won Athlete of the Year with all those categories.
Right. So that was the only year in the history of the Keystone State games that a basketball player won Athlete of the Year. Wow. I can tell you stories about where I actually introduced Kobe to Sam Ryan's AAU club. Wow. That's a funny one. I tell my wife about it.
Come on, talk about it, man.
Myself, my mother, my father, myself, and Kobe drove all the way to Rhode Island together to the Boston Shootout. At the time, I was playing with Sam Ryan's. It was my introduction to AAU. Being from Chester, I was probably the one of the first players from Chester to be introduced to the AAU circuit. And I didn't start playing until my junior year. So we were way behind as it related to being introduced to AAU. I believe I was the first Chester player to attend ABCD camp. But that's another thing. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we definitely going to talk about the camps and everything because the camps are huge. The camps are huge. ABCD, Nike, all that stuff. But go ahead.
So Joe Bryan, who was coaching LaSalle at the time, he asked if Kobe could ride with us up to the tournament. And we competed. We were formidable, right? And, you know, Kobe, his attention to detail and routine, I was a year older than him. So he stayed with us. You know, we had a good relationship with my parents, had a great relationship with his parents. His regimen, he was icing his knees. He was in bed at 8 o'clock. He was up at 6 stretching, preparing his personal mental itinerary. And hey, I was considered to be very reputable as it related to my IQ, my preparation. I was the poster boy for excellence as it relates to academics.
No doubt.
But I was not on his mental level. Right? Let's be clear. Right? And it was funny because we were formidable, we competed, and after a couple of tournaments, I brought Kobe up to Sam Ryan, and Sam had that talk with me. Well, Ray, there's only one spot left. And
Wait, go back. Wait, go back and then tell me about the talk again, because I didn't expect that. Break it down again, slow it down.
I don't want to go over this again, Big Star. You heard me the first time, man.
I'm sorry. I know it's painful. I gotta hear this. What happened, Ray?
Hilarious, man. Look, so I bring him up to Sam Ryan. Sam that was my first experience with skill development. Sam had clinics.
Yeah.
Not Sam Rhines Jr. I'm talking about the
Big
father.
Sam. Big Sam.
Big Sam. Man, God bless his soul.
Yeah.
He introduced me to skill development.
Uh-huh.
And, we would go up. He would have these clinics for an hour and a half where you would work on left hand, right hand, space dribbles, things of that nature. And Kobe came up to the Boston Shootout with me.
And so you put Kobe on
to the AAU program.
You introduced him to Big Sam and them. You coming up here bringing your man on, putting your man on.
Right. Go ahead. Finish it for me.
No,
yeah.
I'm just making sure I follow you. I'm just making sure I follow you. You put your man on, and then what happened?
Couple of tournaments in, right? We're competing. I thought we had a solid unit. What I didn't realize was that Sam had a program where most of the parents were paying for their sons and daughters to be a part of the program. So we were scholarshiped. He would give inner city kids, a lot of times when I say inner city, kids with a higher skill level, he would bring a couple of those kids in to play with his kids so that they could be formidable in these tournaments. And I didn't realize the dynamic of it. Otherwise, I'd have never brought Bean with me, to the games. But I brought him up to the Boston Shootout, and I think it was after the Delaware Shootout that Sam basically gave me my walking papers. And fortunately, I had some dynamite relationships. I started to play after that with Positive Image. And Bill Ellerby, Lattell Vaughn, believe introduced my father to those guys.
Wow.
Dude was a part of that as well. All of this stemmed from my father just taking the initiative and taking me up to Philly. We were introduced to it through Gusting Lakes. So Chester would play in Gusting Lakes. And from that, my father developed relationships and realized we need to be up in Philadelphia. There's a lot.
You need to be connected to this culture up here.
That we need to be connected to, man. And I don't want to, during this time, I definitely want to talk and mention some of my Chester guys, man, because that's where my heart is. But as I'm speaking to you about the dynamic of my growth and development, I have to bring that into the equation because that's probably what platformed me into having a Division I opportunity. Because at time, Chester guys weren't getting Division I opportunities. But we had Division I talent. We weren't getting Prop 48. All you would hear was that our guys wouldn't have grades. But at the time, Philly kids wouldn't have grades, but they had Prop 48. That wasn't made readily available to our guys that didn't have the grades. It wasn't a thing of us being snubbed. It was just a lack of information. Access to information is power and authority, right? So through that, my father was introduced to a lot of guys in Philadelphia. I wound up playing with Positive Image, and that became my AAU team. We should have won Conshohocken. Myself, Donnie Carr, Terrell Stokes, Big Tex, that's on this post. There was another dynamite guard that played with us who had a game similar to Donnie's. He was about 6'1" or 6'2". He could handle it. I can't remember his name right offhand. And I believe Ya played with us occasionally, but he was, at the time, I believe he was sort of like a wild card. So he didn't go everywhere with us. But myself, Terrell Stokes, Donnie Carr, Big Tex, there was a left-handed four-man from Glen Mills that played with us as well. I can't remember his name right offhand. He actually played against us against Chester High. We competed against him a lot.
And what year was this? What year was this around?
He had to graduate in 95 or 94, 95 as well.
You talking about Jordash Allen? You talking about Jordash?
No, Jordash was a left-handed point guard. Was a point guard, right-handed. I remember him very well.
It wasn't Jordash.
He was Jordash's four-man.
Okay, got you.
He was the power forward. That played with that unit, and he played with us.
Oh, somebody said Bruce Bennett.
Bruce Bennett.
Bruce Bennett. Yeah, appreciate Bruce that Bennett. For not 2024. Appreciate that, Bruce Bennett.
Yeah, workhorse, man. Workhorse. He was a workhorse, and that was our AAU club. I went down to I believe now it's called Boo Williams.
Uh-huh.
But before Boo Williams was Boo Williams, it was Charlie Weber.
Yes, yes, yes,
Right?
yes.
We were going down to Charlie Weber. At that time, I believe that he was still renting the University of Maryland facility.
Okay.
So we were playing in that facility. We went down to that tournament together. We played in Conshohocken together. We should have beat the Sunny Hill Juniors.
Okay, we're at,
right?
at the Donna Frio in Conshohocken.
Frio, Kobe, Mike Jordan, Tamir Harbin, Julius, I believe Julius Irving. I'm leaving guys out, man.
That was when the juniors, when Mike Jordan, Mike Jordan was on that team. That's when they won the championship. So they played y'all in the championship.
That slipped away from us. I almost want to put an asterisk on it, man.
Yeah, I wish Mike Jordan, if somebody could find Mike Jordan, because Mike's been talking about this story. Oh man, talk about what are your memories from that game? What are your memories from that game, man?
Well, you can probably being the research buff that you are. I'm sure you could find the articles associated with that game.
Yes.
I drew the defensive assignment of Kobe, and I would like to say that I pretty much had, may God rest his soul, man, ultimate love and respect to Kobe Bean Bryant, man. I mean, he means so much to us. It's tough for me to even speak about him and his legacy without getting emotional. On that day, I had the clamps on him.
Wow.
And I believe there's an article to verify it. Some guys may be watching this post. And when I say the clamps on Kobe, I say that humbly because he probably still had 20.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So as it relates to him, we should have won that game, and it slipped away from us. I believe they beat us by 1 or 2 in overtime, right? And
overtime.
It bothers me a little, Big Star, and I thank you and I bless you for this platform, because when I hear those guys speak about that chip, they don't talk about the mountain that they had to hurdle in positive.
No doubt. It wasn't easy.
No, man. In fact, I would, that one slipped away from us. I mean,
wow.
That was one of my most fond memories, because I remember my respect that I had for Coach Ellerby from Simon Grant was through the roof. He was recognized as like a savant of the game. And he acknowledged my play in that tournament, and made all tournament. And I think at the time, he had made some comments to the tune that I possibly should have been, could have been MVP. Things of that nature. And those comments coming from him, because it's irrelevant now, especially hindsight. Those personal accolades aren't as significant as the camaraderie and the memories that you build in character development. But those compliments coming from him, I just remember that being huge to me, man. It was big as it related to my confidence. The Sunny Hill Junior slipped by us, man. We play that game 10 times, Big Star. We win 9.
I know that's right. Hey, what are some other memories you remember? Any big games? Any just other, any summer league experiences? Anything else that kind of sticks out to you? Something you'll never forget?
Oh man, a ton of them, man. Summer league. Conshohocken, Sunny Hill. Down in McGonigal, you mean? McGonigal Hall, Sunny Hill. I played countless amounts of games there. I can't remember my coach's name. I don't know. I hear. Summer. I work workouts with John Harnett.
Gotcha.
Eventually, guys in Philadelphia know that there's a club that's not really talked about much at the time. May God rest his soul. John Harnett is basically, he would have workouts, and if you leveled up, if your game was at a certain level, you would be invited to these personal workouts. And I attended a few of those workouts, and I remember working out with myself, Michael Jordan, Kobe. I remember working out with Lou Rowe Aaron McKee. Those guys were in that work. There was a big guy from St. Bonaventure that was 6'10", and he had guard skill set. I can't recall his name right offhand, but he attended a lot of those workouts. And one of my memories was those workouts were in the morning, I believe from 8 to 10 a.m. Or from 10 to 12 noon. And after those workouts, Kobe would be so hungry that he would catch the bus over to Drexel. And I remember him so excited. Ray, we can finish workout here, and then we can catch the bus over to Drexel from 3 to 5. And then after 3 to 5, we can catch the bus over to my dad. We can get the keys, and we can go to LaSalle from 6 to 9.
Wow.
And in my mind, I'm like, I'm going home after this one, bro. Right? So it's beautiful because it gave me now as an adult, you recognize the necessary input that goes into greatness.
Yeah.
You get out what you put in.
That's right.
And at the time of being a kid, like I say, the maturity level that he showed at that time was just on another level. But those are my fondest memories as it relates to summer basketball. I mean, I can't name any particular game.
Hey, and somebody had, I'm sorry to cut you off. Somebody said Harry Moore, the guy from St. Bonaventure, the big guy. You said possibly Harry Moore.
Harry Moore.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a problem. You know, I remember he had a skill set that was like a guard skill set, but he had to be 6'8" or 6'10". Lewis Rowe. I don't know if you remember Lou Rowe.
For sure. Yeah. UMass, right?
Right, and being in those workouts at the time, like I say, as it relates to skill development, I was a late bloomer.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate to have been invited to those level workouts because I'm pretty certain that most of the other guys that were in those workouts and just in that space had been on the scene since probably 7th or 8th grade.
Yeah.
I was a late bloomer, I guess, based on just the respect and credibility that I was able to establish by going up and playing with those guys. I was able to get invited to some of those circuits, but we'll talk about it as we go further into detail. But like I said, I wasn't at the time, my dedication to the craft, right, wasn't at the same level as some of those guys in terms of their love for the art and understanding what it took to improve. A lot of the success that I saw, and I saw a lot of personal success and personal accolades, it stemmed from just 5-on-5, a determined motor, and just grit, you know?
Gotcha.
And like you say, I believe to this day, I have no regrets, man, because God is the author of all things perfect.
That's right.
It's no regrets, but I know, whereas when I've watched this platform before, I've heard guys talk about they pretty much are content with what they've seen from themselves. And I know that the best basketball player, Ray Carroll, I don't think he was ever seen.
No doubt.
And, but it's beautiful because I think that sports only have a certain level of importance, and we're supposed to draw from them spiritual and character development. And I can honestly say that the lessons that I learned from the areas of my maximization that I didn't tap into athletically, I do so as a father and as a husband and as a man.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So I use basketball was used to get I got a free education at an elite university academically, and I'm sure we'll talk about that more. And also the life lessons and the character development that I gained is absolutely priceless, man. And
awesome.
We need to remember when dealing with the youth that the most important ingredient that we want to pull from athletics, period, regardless of what sport, is character development and life skills.
No doubt.
Because ball is life is a quote, but that's not true.
Yeah.
Life is life.
Yeah.
Ball is a vessel to be used for growth in life.
No doubt. Right? No doubt. Oh, you dropping jewels, man. That need to be on a T-shirt or something, man.
Man, pull it up, man. I wanted to talk to you after this behind the scenes about a corporate partnership anyhow, because
you move, man. On the shirt, man.
Yes,
legit,
indeed.
man. That's beautiful, man. You preaching, man. That's beautiful words, man. You got so much wisdom. I love it, man. Hey, so transition. Talk about your We're gonna get into the camps and shout out to Pure Impact. I saw your question about the KG story. Pure Impact said tell the KG story. I guess the Kevin Garnett story about camp. So is that something? Hold on, just we're gonna talk about camps in right after the high school stuff. But if you can, real quick, just talk. Let's talk about your high school journey. Let's talk about varsity basketball with the Clippers, championships, rivals, rival games, players you played against. When you close your eyes and think about the Chester Clippers, your journey, man, just talk about it.
Well, let me say this. The friendships, man, and the brotherhood that was established, man, through that Chester High School journey is unexplainable in words. So I already had a certain level of talent and drive and determination, but coming into the 9th grade, I had a relationship with Jamar Shaw, Zane Shaw's little brother from Biddy League. But once I got into high school, we began to spend a lot more time together, and he would take me down into his project where he grew up, the William Penn projects. And my father trusted me enough to leave me, because I would say I was sheltered growing up. My father had his hands on me tight, right? And at that time, he started to allow me to venture out more. And those experiences playing in the William Penn projects with Jamar Solo Shaw
no doubt,
is what took my game to another level in terms of grit, determination, and just those intangibles that made me, I think, a much more formidable and determined competitor on a high school level. So let me give that shout out to my guy, ultimate love and respect to him on that.
Shaw Jamar 42, he's definitely on. He's definitely listening.
Yeah. So Eric Evans from Fidance, he runs Fidance now. The name of that program actually came from Solo Shaw. He would talk. We had a certain dialogue that we would use amongst one another. And Fidance came from the word confidence. And Jamar Solo Shaw, who was our spiritual leader, would say, "Oh man, you ain't got no Fidance. You ain't got no Fidance. Your Fidance is shot." And that's where confidence comes from, the word shortened Fidance.
No doubt.
So
appreciate that history lesson.
That's internal dialogue, man. This is back closet dialogue here,
no
man.
Doubt. This is a hidden gem right there, man.
Right. I could be in violation of exposing some of this lingo. I didn't get permission first.
That's
right?
the code. That's your internal code.
But I tell you, man, so I played junior varsity as a freshman, and the best Chester High team that I ever played on was my 10th grade year.
Okay.
We didn't win the state championship that year, but we had 3 starting lineups.
Wow.
I started for Chester High as a 10th grader, and that was sort of what stamped me as official. In Chester, if you play varsity as a 10th grader, you're deemed to be special. But if you start varsity as a 10th grader, then you are elite, right?
No doubt.
So that year, my 10th grade year, we had, I'll start with the seniors. We had Teron Richardson, he's, may God rest his soul, Jamar Millsap, James Gordy, my cousin Leroy Stillis, Kareem Henson, Jamar Shaw, Randy Maltzby, Eric Evans, Demetrius Hunter, Damon Hunter. Oh, man, who am I leaving out? Man, there weren't enough basketballs on that.
Was that your sophomore year? Was that 93?
That was the year that we beat Norristown and at
Strathaven. Yo, let me tell you, you know, Big Star was in that game as well. But I was a 10th grader as well. But I wasn't as privy to be a starter, nothing like that. My story was I was just happy to be there. I was my guys, Harry Allen, my god brothers, Harry Allen, Derek Perry. I was just happy to see the show.
Name.
I was
just
happy.
Name.
Yes.
Just the name Harry Allen. Makes me want to lace them up tighter, man, in fear of my ankles getting rolled.
Yes.
Harry Allen. had the smooth low crossover.
That's right.
Oh man,
That's
yeah, he
right.
was stretching
So
us.
listen,
He was
I
stretching.
was just happy to be on varsity, sitting on the bench, enjoying the show. I had no desire to get in the game. Harry Allen, I just wanted to watch the show, man. So I was there. I was there.
Big Star, you were on that
I
team
was
as a
on that
sophomore.
team, dog. So I was
Oh,
on
so
that
yeah,
team. So that's what I'm saying.
oh,
Being on that team, you know what I mean?
I did it.
It meant something. Like
Can I put you in? Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
just like you said, at the level that Harry and Derek Perry, Alfonso Gibbons, all the other guys were at, just to be on that team on the bench as a 10th grader, that was major. So I was content playing my part. I was good.
Hey, let me keep it authentic with you for a minute, Big Star. That was the best Chester High team that I played on.
Wow.
Which says a lot about Norristown.
Yeah.
Because that year we weren't supposed to beat you guys.
Listen, Norristown was supposed to win that game, man. Norristown was supposed to win the states that year.
I'm not gonna say that game. You guys were picked to win.
No doubt. But go ahead, talk.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was man, ultimate respect, man. I mean, Norristown, man, just being on. Let me just take a step back, man, and just salute to Norristown, because I would imagine that Norristown has a lot of the same chip on its shoulder.
Yes, yep.
As Chester.
Yep.
I can just imagine that it does as it relates to Philadelphia hoops. It's not necessarily deemed as inner city public league basketball, but the talent is rich.
100%. Yep. Rich history.
Yep. But getting back, man, that was the so salute to Norristown.
Yep.
But that was the best team that I played on. But I think at the time, coaching hadn't yet evolved to where it is now. And I don't think we played our best hand that year. Thanks to Hazleton. But I believe that had we played and made them play our style of basketball, we blow them off the court.
Gotcha.
But we fell into a slow tempo style game that was more suited to their strengths.
Yeah.
And that loss to this day, the pain of that loss hurts like yesterday.
The Hazleton game?
The Hazleton game, my sophomore year.
Wow.
And the pain is parallel to my senior year, losing to, tell me the name of the team. My conscience has wiped the name of the team out due to the alignment of pain. Who did we lose to in the state playoffs my senior year?
Dang. Wow. I need Dave Berman on this one. Dang. I'm not sure. Anybody that's on Shaw, J Mac, who did?
It's ridiculous for me not to remember the name. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, who did Chester lose to in '95 in the States, right?
In the States.
Yeah, somebody. Lower Marion. My man J Mac got it. Lower Marion.
No, not Lower Marion.
PW. Ray Strickland said White Marsh. PW.
No.
Was it somebody from out of our area?
It was upstate Pennsylvania, my senior year, 1995. Williamsport. Well, let me take a step back. We beat Lower Marion my senior year. We were unquestionably supposed to win the states. We were picked number 1, and that year I believe we were ranked 7th or 8th in the country. So that was a year we were unquestioned. But that year, our intestinal fortitude and camaraderie wasn't what it was my junior year. We were prima donnas.
Yeah.
We were good, and we knew we were good.
Yeah.
Right? That was our Achilles. But we beat Lower Marion that year, Kobe's junior year.
Yeah.
Now, I have a fun fact for you.
Hey, hold on. Hey, just sorry to cut you off. We're coming on closing on our first hour. We got a minute left. So just hold that thought with the fun fact.
Yep.
Everybody listening, everybody watching, we got over 40-something people in here right now watching this. We have an amazing audience, Ray. You are an amazing storyteller, dog. That's why the people are in here, man. Everybody, I'm going to stop. I'm going to end this. I'm going to save it about 30 seconds to a minute. Everybody come right back, and we're going to continue. All right? So, Ray, just stay on my page. You're going to see me start a new one, and just send me a new request. We're going to pick up right here.
I got it covered, man. My aptitude is there.
No doubt. Hey, what's the deal, people? Appreciate everybody rejoining me, man. I need all 40, 50 of y'all back into this live, man, so we can pick up with my man Ray Carroll, an amazing storyteller. Just like I thought, man. This is an amazing treat, man. He's gonna pick back up. He has a fun fact for us, man. We're gonna pick right back up. This is Legends Week, Season 5, with the legend, one of the most legendary Chester Clippers, man. My man Ray Carroll. All right, so fun fact. We pick up where you left off.
You put a fun fact.
Yes.
Man, my goddess, today is my birthday.
Yes.
Man, during the break, I was a little late coming back in. I've since, we'll talk about that. I went plant-based as it relates to my diet.
No doubt.
And my goddess put together something for me for my birthday.
Oh man.
Some stuffed peppers with the plant-based meat, and I was trying to get at it a little. During the break,
I caught you doing, that was the break, halftime, where people run to the concession stand, and then you hear the buzz. You be like, oh, the game's back on. Let me get back out there.
She doesn't want me to put her on, man. But shout out to my queen, man.
Shout out to the queen, man. Shout out to the queen in the kitchen. Shout out to, hey, and happy birthday to you, man. Everybody right now, I need everybody watching. We forgot to mention, man, it's my man Ray Carroll's birthday. Listen, Ray, oh man, how did I forget to mention? At the top of the hour, I should have said it. We got right into it. Happy birthday to you, King.
Hey.
Listen, this video, this interview is so special that you are spending your birthday with us on Legends Week. Thank you so much. Everybody right now, tap in. Happy birthday to the legend Ray Carroll, man. Happy birthday, OG.
Hey, thank you, man. I tell you what, being in this space on my birthday is the best gift, man. Wow. I could ever ask for, man. I know that was spiritually ordained in advance. I know that we talked about that on the text.
No doubt.
Fun fact.
Yes.
My senior year, we not only beat, but pretty much dismantled Lower Merion at Villanova's Pavilion in the districts.
I was there. Now, at the DuPont. I was there for that game.
Now, if you pay attention closely to their game against Chester in the playoffs the following year, after myself, Randy Maltsby, and Eric Evans, who were pretty much our nucleus, John Linehan. But Eric Evans, Randy Maltsby, and myself graduated that year. We were seniors. If you look closely at the Lower Merion warm-up jerseys, the next year when they beat Chester, when they beat us in overtime, you'll notice 27 on the back of their warm-ups. That's how much we beat them by the year before.
Wow.
Yeah. So you'll notice that if you look at the warm-up video of the year 1996 play, Chester Lower Merion had the numbers 27 on the back of their warm-ups. That came from the shellacking that we gave them the year prior. Yeah.
What? Yo, that's a fun fact right there. That's classic. That's a gem. If I ever talk to Coach Downer, I gotta bring that up.
Man, and make sure you send Coach Downer my highest regard. By far, the best experience that I've had as a basketball player was, and I don't look, this is just my organic feel. This is not to demean the level of coaching of any of the coaches that I've ever had, but his nature and presence were so free-spirited that it brought the best out of me. And I would probably venture to say that most guys that have been blessed with a chance to play for Greg Downer experienced that freedom as it relates to playing. I mean, all he wanted us to do was defend, and we free-flowed offensively. I hadn't played up until that time. I hadn't played with that much freedom, and as it relates to camaraderie and just the spiritual vibe of our team in those Keystone State games was on another level. Greg Downer is probably, I'm not sure if he's underestimated because I'm not as frequent on the scene as I used to be. I'm not sure how he's recognized, but he's unquestionably a staple in the basketball community as it relates to coaching and just being a player's coach. His presence is one that it was very comforting to me as it relates to playing, you know. And that's big for a coach, but I hold very fond and close to my heart my experience playing under Greg Downer in the Keystone State games. Yeah, but
no doubt. So listen, so going back to that shellacking, man, that 27, that's a pretty amazing fun fact. And I was there at the DuPont Pavilion at Villanova when y'all destroyed Lower Merion. I was there for that game. I was 100% there for that, man. I was definitely there for that game.
And we knew. Now, don't get me wrong. Coming in at that time, I had already a pretty consistent relationship established with Kobe, so I knew I knew what he brought to the game, and that he pretty much had no holes in his game.
Yeah.
But we just had too many weapons, and although we beat them handily, we pretty much handled them without any issues. They really didn't have a chance to compete with us. They didn't have enough that year. But we all knew who the best player on the court was that day.
Gotcha.
And it wasn't a Chester player.
No doubt.
Right?
No doubt. No doubt. Hey, what are some other high school memories, big games, memorable games, when you think back on high school career, junior, senior year?
Man, unfortunately, the Williamsport sticks out in my mind as it relates to painful losses. But no question, man, my junior year, the year that we won the state championship, that was of my 3 years playing varsity, that was the year that we were not predicted to win. Okay. We came into the state playoffs that year ranked, I believe, number 3. And that year there were tons of memories. What stands out is the game that's actually you were responsible for putting back in circulation.
No doubt.
Where you pulled that one from, King. Ultimately, to you and your craft, man. Where did you find that at? If you tell me, you got to kill me, right?
Well, I'm the Fred Sanford of sports archives, man. I'm a collector. That's what I do. I wheel and deal. People send me things. I mean, I just had that, man. I had that joint in the vault, man. Art Perryman, Mike Long, Smalley. Name the team for me. Oh, that was I'm drawing a blank. I just
I'm doing blanks with these names, man. My guy's gonna tell me about this.
I'm drawing a blank. I'm ready to find something. It'll come to me. It'll come to me.
So that game stands out to me. Of course, no greater feeling and my basketball memory was than winning the state championship in the Hershey Park Arena against Erie Cathedral Prep. East Stroudsburg.
Yeah, East Stroudsburg. Appreciate that, man. I just had a little break.
Strictly and solo, back to back. My guys, Stroudsburg.
No doubt. And appreciate y'all. East Stroudsburg.
I talk to them in private. They're going to let me have it about drawing these blanks with the names of these teams. It's my birthday, man. I'm climbing the charts and getting no younger.
And I just uploaded it, so I should have knew as well.
But Stroudsburg stands out, man. Those were wars, man. The bond that we had as a unit, that 1994 year, was something like I've never experienced before in my life. We were spiritually aligned that year. In terms of where I am now as an adult, of course, I'm extremely spiritual. I mean, I'm here now. My family, everything that we stand on, the foundation of who we are, our morals and principles are spiritually based. But that year was a precursor to all the things that I would stand on as an adult, right? Doubt. It just happened organically with that bunch, with those guys. I mean, winning the state championship was an unexplainable feeling. We weren't picked to win. We probably were the underdog in at least 50% of those state playoff games. But we knew what we were capable of.
Yeah.
And stronger than any basketball advantage that we had was our relationship and bond. So, you know, as when you're younger, you hear these things like accountability, integrity, respect, morals, principles, and they're just words. You're like, man, where's the ball? You know, but then as an adult, you're like, wait a minute, those intangibles, what you can't see is what controls this physical existence, because we're simply spiritual beings having a natural existence. So once you really hang your hat on those principles, it works, and you realize that what you can't see is controlling this existence, right? We are blessed in the now, man. We're not waiting on a blessing. We're blessed in the now. We're filling our lungs with oxygen, right? Find and locate those things to be blessed about. Whatever you magnify will grow. So we highlight the blessings. Our cups continually runneth over, man.
100%.
That year, 1994, was an early reflection of that philosophy and understanding that I now live by as an adult. Unexplainable. I mean, Glenn Mills, Jordash Allen, Yade, Rashid Bey was on here yesterday. You mentioned a few times Ray Carroll. He kind of skipped over it, but they never beat us. As a Clipper, he played at Glenn Mills. He went to.
He said that was a big rivalry for y'all. Glenn Mills and Chester. That was a big rivalry.
His handle was wicked. His basketball IQ off the charts, but he couldn't hurdle the hump of the Chester's high school.
No doubt.
But he didn't have. As a matter of fact, it was Rashid Bey and Arthur Davis. Davis. The year after that was Arthur Davis and a player who not a lot of people know about, who was probably the best point guard in the state of Pennsylvania, outside of the ones that were running with me. Much respect to Damian Hunter, Solo Shaw, Randy Maltsby, Eric Evans, those John Lenahan. But Jordash Allen was different.
I heard the stories, man.
May God rest his soul, man. We beat them 3 out of 4 times that year, my junior year, and they pretty much mollywopped us at Villanova by 20-something points, and they were predicted to beat us after we beat East Stroudsburg. We then had to face Glenn Mills, who had just destroyed us in the districts to Hershey, right? So we that road to the championship, man, it was well earned, man. I remember those battles against Glenn Mills, East Stroudsburg.
And somebody else, my man, LL23 said, Gratz 94, Chester at Gratz 94. And then he said Chester versus Gratz 95 in Erie, PA as well. Yeah, he wants me to talk about that, right? I was hoping that we could backburner that dialogue to a later date. That one.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thanks, bro. So, we never beat Gratz.
Got you.
I don't think that it was a talent thing or a heart thing. Gratz was prepared. I keep my hats off to Simon Gratz, the program, the legacy, the coach. I'm not sure what's going on there now, but the foundation of that program is to be highly regarded and respected.
They're definitely in good hands. Leonard Stewart's the head coach now.
Nardy's the coach at Gratz now? Oh, wait, I knew that. So
we got the program.
He was a big part of why they were too much for us in 94. See, what happened was their coach, Ellerby, he knew the weaknesses of our players. So at the time, my strength was I was right-handed, but my left hand was my stronger hand. So I like to put it down with my left and get my mid-range off with the right. But for some reason at the time, hindsight being 2020, I never realized why I couldn't have a good game against Simon Gratz. because they sat on my left hand.
Gotcha.
They were prepared in advance. They didn't let me do what I was comfortable competing against collegiate level preparation, right? So Simon Graf in 1993, we scrimmaged them with Rasheed Wallace, Rondell. I believe they had another big man with Rasheed Wallace who was a monster. He had to play Major Division I. Red Smith at the one, Terrell Stokes. My guy.
Jamal Redmond.
Jamal Redmond, but my guy, two guard. Oh man, plenty of game. He went to Rutgers. Somebody tell me his name. This is my
Who
guy.
else? Who else? Stokes, Reds. Who else? Who else is he missing?
They had a two guard that played with Rel and that played with Reds.
We got T. Wallace on here. We got the legend John Linehan on here. Who else? Brian Samuels. Brian Samuels.
There you go. Who gave the name up? Was it J. Rue?
LL 23rd. He has all the history he knows. And Shendoa 23M. Brian Samuels. Yeah.
Brian Samuels. So they were loaded. They weren't limited on talent, but I believe talent-wise we could have competed. But they were just with the talent they had in the prep. Now 93, there was no competing with them. Yeah, that was the Rasheed Wallace year.
That's when they were number one. Gratz was number one in the country then as well.
Yeah, and then I saw a couple of back and forths on social media about who was number one that year, and I can't for the life of me imagine a team that could have assumed that spot.
Nah, Simon Gratz, they were number one that year. Simon Gratz was number one. They were national champs, I believe, as well.
So 93 was pretty much we competed probably against them tougher than any other team. We scrimmaged them at their place. But 94 was an official game. 95 was an official game. In fact, in 95, myself, Terrell Stokes, Tim Thomas, and Jed Ryan are on the front cover of the magazine of the tournament in Erie Prep.
Wow.
We were featured, right? Wow. So I got my herringbone on with the ball on my finger, right? That's how I took my picture back then, man. I wasn't cocky at all.
No, not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit, right? So we were on the that was probably why we couldn't get a W, man. You know, but there was so many ingredients, man. Life is a beautiful journey, man. There were so many ingredients outside of the game that began to come into play after we won the state championship that it took from the substance that I think we had generated in 1994. 1994, we made that run, and that run was built off of integrity, accountability, all of the intangibles. And then after we won, upon our return, those intangibles sort of went out the window. We became more individuals, and we still should have won, even as individuals. But I just think that the camaraderie of the team in 95 versus 94 is not even the same unit.
Got you. Hey, quick, jump into because I'm anxious to hear this story. Pure Impact said, tell the KG story. So our next place I want to change the channel, talk about some of the camps, because one of the things that kids haven't experienced these days is they've died out. You know, back then before AAU was like super, nationally, popping and all that. You played the camps, you played ABCD or Nike camp or Adidas camp. Talk about some camp memories, and then talk about the tell the KG, I guess, the Kevin Garnett story.
It's funny that you make that request, because the KG story is founded at ABCD camp.
No doubt.
But it's not KG. It is Sharif Abdur Rahim.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
So let me first go into how I ended up at ABCD camp.
Hey, pause 1 second. Your reception is you got a bad connection. I can hear you clear, but it's breaking up like pretty bad.
Hey, is it better now?
It's starting to clear up, I think. All right, it's clearing up now. Yep, it's clearing up now. I can see you a
We
little
good
bit better
now?
now.
We good now?
Yep, it's back. We good. Yep.
Okay, yep. Well, I shout out to Lattell Vaughn.
Yep.
LB of Elite Sports is what his voicemail said for the last 50 years.
No
This
doubt.
LB of Elite Sports.
No doubt.
Lattell Vaughn saw me playing at Drexel. Like I said, I was the first Chester player to attend one of those big shoe camps. I went to ABCD camp. And as it relates to the new guys in Chester, I like to say for myself, Randy Maltsby, Jamar Shaw, Eric Evans, John Linehan, Damian Hunter, Demetrius Hunter, Brahim Thor, we lit the fire on the stove they cook on and eat on.
No doubt. No doubt.
Right?
No doubt.
When Lattell Vaughn got me into ABCD camp, he saw me playing at Drexel and put my father on the phone with Sonny Vaccaro.
Wow. Oh, that's major, dog. That's major.
On site. And that's how I am, because they had no Chester guys were going to attend ABCD camp. We weren't even on the radar. But fortunately, I was at a tournament in Drexel, and Lattell was there, and Lattell talked to my father. He's like, you know, your son's pretty good. I can probably get him into the camp. That's how I wound up at ABCD camp.
That's major. Shout out to Lattell Vaughn, man. That's major.
Shout out to Lattell Vaughn. And shout out to my dad, man, for making that phone call. Back then, there were no cell phones. So if you weren't home, opportunity's gone.
That's
Thank
right.
God everything was aligned. And
That's
it was
right.
it was spiritually ordained for me to be there, because Sonny could have very well not been home.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know, this wasn't the cell phone, social media generation. So Sharif Abdur-Rahim was a shock to us. We knew about Kevin Garnett. He was, I believe, the #1 player in the country. But Sharif Abdur-Rahim was someone that wasn't on our radar from California. And he wound up, I believe he was on Terrell Stokes' team.
Wow.
So in our cubby area where we slept at night, Terrell had gotten a load of Sharif Abdur-Rahim's game. And at the time, in my opinion, Sharif Abdur-Rahim probably was more finished and refined at 6'10", a little more smooth. Kevin Garnett was aggressive, but Sharif was polished. And he was, at the time, a practicing Muslim.
Gotcha.
And Terrell, I remember Terrell Stokes describing his game as, it's this guy on my team, and he's got the Nation of Islam in his game. and he used that to describe, at the time, his approach and the discipline and consistency and
metaphorically, I hear you.
Paralleled what we associated with the Nation of Islam at that time. So that's the funny story as it relates to Kevin Garnett. It wasn't exactly Kevin Garnett. It was Sharif Abdur-Rahim.
Wow.
But it was a shock to us because he wasn't on our radar. But camp showed me that there were levels. And I had to, if I wanted to compete, when I got back to Chester my senior year, I had a full-fledged understanding of what it took to truly be elite. I had seen the biggest stage of basketball and the best players. And at that time, I knew that guys were doing skill development. Guys were working on their crafts. Guys were doing things and adding things to their game that it wasn't put into me at the foundation of my basketball self, right? As we go forward, we can talk about that. And these guys, most of the guys on that stage, especially the guards, you have to understand, 1995, when I graduated, at ABCD camp was Paul Pierce, Vince Carter, Sham God, Stephon Marbury, Chauncey Billups, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, Robert Tractor Trailer, Baron Davis. I mean,
you know, you was in camp competing against and eating lunch and just competing with all them guys, man.
Shaheen Holloway, A lot of guys, Antoine Walker was a counselor. Sharif Abdur Rahim. So the class of '95, I know a lot of people talk about their classes in respect to talent and depth. I'm not sure too many classes.
Was Kareem Reed there as well?
Kareem Reed, Shante Rogers.
Shante Rogers, got you. Yep.
Kareem Reed Kareem Reed was the year ahead of Shante Rogers.
Okay.
So Shante Rogers was that year. Donald Foyle, I believe, was his big man at the camp. Lenny Brown, Rashid Bey talked about Gary Lumpkin yesterday. Those guys were there. I mean, the camp was filled, man, and that was the most elite experience that I had as it relates to basketball and in my early days, in the growth and development of who I was. But I learned so much, man. I took a lot of lessons from that, and it was kind of like smelling salt for me because it humbled me. Yeah. It made me realize that we always talked about playing professional ball, being young guys from Chester. That was the goal. And Jameer finally kicked that door in for us. But at the time, our basketball lifestyles weren't parallel to that of a pro. Gotcha. We were playing ball. We loved the game, but there were some accountability, consistency, and work to be put in that just wasn't readily available to us at the time. So gotcha. The talent was there, but the regimen was absent. The access to information we didn't have. Gotcha. And they showed it to me. Yeah, man.
That's crazy. Hey, so get into real quick. Break down your college, the college recruitment experience, and what ultimately led to Fordham. Like, what other schools are recruiting you, and then why did you decide on Fordham?
Well, early, I felt like, hindsight being 2020, I had Xavier offer me early. Okay. And at the time, in your mind as a younger kid, sometimes you think that you're better than what you are. So I assumed that I would get better offers later. When I didn't commit early, that offer went away. I had Drexel, University of Penn, James Madison, a lot of local schools. I'm not sure if I had a pure offer from LaSalle. They wanted Donnie. I didn't get an offer from LaSalle. Drexel, I didn't get the offer that I wanted locally. I went to Fordham. My father decided, and I decided that Fordham was the place because they were entering the Atlantic 10. Okay. Now here comes an entirely different perspective. This was a transition period in my life, coming from Chester to Fordham. I went to Fordham because that was their first year entering the Atlantic 10 conference. I was the first scholarship player in Fordham University history. Wow. Wow. Fordham University wasn't offering scholarships. So they transitioned into the Atlantic 10, and I received the first scholarship. Yeah. So I was excited to play in the Atlantic 10 conference, but I didn't realize what was ahead of me as it relates to getting pounded on and being in the basement of the conference. Wow. I also, a lot of people don't know this, because my college experience was a learning experience for me, and it didn't. What was expected to come to fruition for me didn't. Gotcha. Largely due to my inability to process things not going my way. Right. Gotcha. So throughout my life with basketball, I had a lot of success. We won an awful lot. Things usually went my way. Yeah. I didn't realize and I had a great upbringing, but the accountability, and when the going gets tough, the tough get going. But when the going got tough for me in college, I got to pouting, you see? And that's a lesson for the youth as it relates to tough situations or opportunities to level up. So what you never want to do is finger point. There are no situations that you're facing that are anyone else's fault but your own. God doesn't create victims. So whatever circumstances that you are facing, look within for the answer. Dig deeper, work harder. So getting back to Fordham, when I got to Fordham, I had a successful freshman and sophomore season individually. A lot of people know I think I had 600 or 700 points as a freshman and sophomore. I had scored more points in Fordham history than any freshman ever since, I think it was Joe Paterno, I believe.
Okay.
So I had amassed more points as a freshman than anyone else in the history of Fordham University as a freshman and as a sophomore. But subconsciously, I didn't realize that we were losing, man. We were 4-21.
Wow.
At the bottom of the Atlantic 10. Three, you know, and coming from Chester, a winning culture, this is something a lot of people don't know. Okay, no problem, no problem. After my sophomore season, without any valid reason, I redshirted my junior year. Wow. And I gave the coaching staff no legitimate reason why. Now, in my mind, being younger, I thought that I was going to reload and we get some talent, but things don't work out that way. The time is now. So hindsight being 2020, my father probably should have slapped me upside my head and said, no, you playing this year coming up.
That's right.
But I redshirted. If you look back on my history, after my sophomore season, when we had another dismal season of losing over and over again, I didn't carry it well. And I didn't know, but internally, I was experiencing turbulence emotionally. Basketball was very important to us at the time. And I guess I tried to play it down as if it wasn't that important because I was having a lot of individual success. Yeah. But after my sophomore season, it is an attestament to how valuable I was to the program that they didn't just take my scholarship away. When I came back my junior year, we then had accumulated more talent. We had Bevon Robin, who Rashid Bey talked about yesterday.
Yes, I heard about him, and I saw some things. I went to his Instagram page, and so I'm gonna definitely reach out to him.
Well, I was supposed to actually play in the backcourt with him.
Okay.
But during my redshirt year, I wasn't very accountable. Okay. I was supposed to be attending practice. I may have practiced 2 or 3 times with the team that season.
Wow.
A lot of things that right now, at this time, because of this platform, the details of it, we don't have enough time to go into, but my accountability, who I was, the fabric of who I am, had veered. And the losing and everything had taken its toll on me. And when the going got tough, I backed away from the challenge of my junior year and redshirted with no legitimate reason. They allowed me to come back. I started my first 3 games my junior year, but Bev and the other guys had established the chemistry. And I remember Coach explaining it to me. He called me into the office and he said, look, I love you. I came back ready to play. I played Sunny Hill League. I was in shape. But he was like, the guys don't, we weren't winning anyway. Yeah. And he's like, guys don't want to play with you. At the time, I took a lot of shots. I wasn't a ball stopper, but I commanded a lot of offensive attention. That was the way I was bred athletically as it relates to basketball. So the chemistry that was established it didn't have room for my skill set, my make and model. And what I should have done at that time was became a great teammate, worked harder, been a beautiful presence in the locker room, and showed the team that I was accountable and that I wanted to be a part of this culture, and that what I did the year prior was unacceptable, and I should have made that known, and I should have taken accountability for the error in my way. But I don't have any regrets because of who I am now. All of those mistakes make me who I am today. But hindsight, if I were to give advice, I would say that I failed to assume accountability for my actions as it relates to the culture of that program. So I had no one else to blame. And he told me, I'm not going to play you.
Wow.
But he probably was just saying that. He would have played me had I shown him the ingredients of selflessness,
Gotcha.
which I
Gotcha.
didn't, because at that time I hadn't leveled up to that place mentally.
Yeah.
Right? So Nick McCarchuk was fired that year, or stepped down, and Bob Hill came in my senior year. And of course, as a senior, looking at the stats year prior, and I wasn't playing my junior year. So, you know, the value, if anyone that knows anything about collegiate athletics, unless you're already an established fixture of that program, your
Yeah.
value as a senior is very low unless you are a very important entity of the chemistry. You know, more important than you are the younger guys coming in that they're trying to groom. And by that time, I had developed a mindset and a mentality that was carcinogenic to the chemistry and development of the team. And that was a beautiful time, because up until that time, Big Star, I had always been the poster boy for excellence.
Yeah.
As it relates to chemistry, academics, interaction with people. So that was a brand new chamber for me, man. And I'm glad to say that due to the strength and consistency of my father and my parents, I finished school and I used basketball.
No doubt.
So basketball paid for me to get a full scholarship and a business degree from Fordham University, because I came this close to blowing it all.
Wow.
Right? And unfortunately, my support system got me through, man. And that's my interpretation of what happened when the going got tough. I didn't get going. I got to pouting.
No doubt. Hey, that if you can stay there for me real quick. I mean, you're teaching some amazing lessons, dropping some jewels, some learning experiences for kids to give them a frame of reference to help them make some decisions. A big thing now, you know, when the going gets tough, kids start to transfer and they enter the transfer portal. So talk about that right now, and then talk about where do you think, like, if you would have transferred, do you think, you know, if you would have just said, you know what, this ain't working, I'm pouting, I'm transferring somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that would have been the answer? And then talk about when things aren't going well for kids, they hit some adversity and then they just transfer out somewhere. Some kids transfer 2-3 times in college. You know what I'm saying? Talk about that thing, because kids need to hear that.
I tell you what, now there are circumstances where transferring is probably the best thing for a kid. It's all contingent on their heart posture and mindset.
Okay.
For me, it wouldn't have made a difference where I went, because the accountability and the mental approach was absent.
Yeah.
So at
so
that time,
you were bringing yourself with you no matter where you went.
No matter where I went.
With the same mindset.
No matter where I went, you know, and I didn't realize, because I had never hit adversity as it relates to basketball, this was a brand new chamber for me. And I was experiencing it as a 21-year-old, and not knowing how to process what was happening. I didn't know how to process things not going my way. But any advice I would give, I would say that only you know, individually, you know if your heart posture is in a place that is in alignment with the chemistry of that program, because your first goal as an athlete should be to be a great teammate. That was something that I failed to realize until later in life. The first goal is to be a great teammate and be coachable. You want to be a healthy part of the locker room in that athletic environment. Once you've done that, then you want to dedicate yourself to the personal skill development of your game, so that you can be an asset to that program. Now, if you are in a place where you've dedicated yourself to the program, you know that you've been a great teammate, you know that you have a selfless heart posture as it relates to this program, and things aren't going your way, well, transfer may be for you. But you're fooling yourself if you think that transferring is the way, and you failed to establish yourself as a positive source of energy in that current situation. because you're going to carry that energy wherever you go. You can't escape your stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What I would say to young kids is that unquestionably, I wouldn't recommend being transfer happy. I would say that there is a process that one must be honorable to before being able to legally take a look at that option.
No doubt. No doubt. That
When I
totally
say
makes sense.
legally, right. I mean spiritually legal. You know,
Yes,
we
yes.
know what's on paper as legal, and we know what's legal among us. You know, like
100%.
you,
Yeah,
like Pac, you could tell them people you roll with whatever you want, but you and I know.
exactly. 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 I appreciate that, man. That's Jules, man. Um, life after Fordham. Did you continue to pursue basketball? Like try to go overseas, or what was life after Fordham regarding the game of basketball?
Well, after Fordham, man, I processed the disappointments that I experienced there so badly that that was it for me. I stepped
Wow.
away from the game.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball was all we knew. The pain that I endured as it relates to the experience that I had at Fordham and my poor processing of it was so much that I stepped away from the game. That
Wow.
brought me into education, and that is where the jaded and rugged terrain of trial brings forth miracles, because I
Yes.
met my wife when I began teaching. I began substitute teaching at Toby Farms Elementary School, which is where my wife, who at the time was a fifth grade elementary teacher, she and I met there. And I stepped away from the game, and that was that actually took me to the point that landed me at American Christian School, where you and I met. Right,
Yeah,
eventually.
yeah. Hey,
My
Ray, it's hey, pause. I'm sorry to cut off. You saying some amazing things right now, and the reception's breaking up a little bit again.
Man, let me.
And I may have you once we get clear again, I may have you repeat what you were saying, because you were saying some things that I definitely want to hear clear, want the people to hear.
You got it now?
It's still breaking up. It's still like real pixel. I can barely see you. I can hear you, but I can barely see you. It's like real grainy.
Any better?
Maybe if you kind of like sit still for a second, it's starting to come back. It's starting to like all right. It's clearing up now. We good again.
Hey, I think that probably me being a little too animated, the phone took us off kilter. But
But you were saying you met your wife in the teaching experience.
In the teaching experience, so I left college, I graduated spring of 2000, and began substitute teaching at Toby Farms Elementary School, which is where I met my wife. And I stayed in education for 5 years. I didn't have my bachelor's degree is in business finance.
Gotcha.
But I fell in love with, the growth and development of the youth. So I did that. I had, of course, didn't have a family at the time. I did that for 4 years. And then I was offered the opportunity to teach and coach at American Christian School, which is where the Big Star and Ray Carroll connection began.
That's where we met. That's right. That's where we connected. Yep.
That's where we connected. And that was
if the people don't know, I turned into being you guys' camera guy. I was showing up to tons of games. I made as many as I could. When you was, the team you had, Tyreek Evans, Nasir Robinson, Zubair, Blair Carter, all the guys, man, yeah.
Hamadou Rahman.
Hamadou Rahman, yeah. Listen, listen. This was exclusive. Like I was in the locker room with y'all. This was like behind the scenes, ESPN, way before all that, man.
we can't leave Charles White out. Salute to
Charles
Chuck.
White, yeah, Charles White, yeah,
He's the best.
Oscar Griffin.
Oscar Griffin.
Yeah,
Oscar
listen,
Griffin.
all right,
Hey,
coach, I was so locked in, I didn't even remember your plays. You used to be like, all right, guys, we gonna go pistols and guns, pistols and guns with a twist.
see your man in the ball, right? Big star. See, pistols and guns is, man, I don't want to get up. Pistols and guns is see your man in the ball on a swivel. So you got your pistols and guns, right? And you on a swivel. And pissed out. Man, that experience was by far that was as beautiful and memorable of an experience as any basketball that I actually played.
Wow.
Nas Robinson, Tariq Evans, the nucleus of our team, they were babies. Yeah. They were sophomores. Mm-hmm. And you know, we had a formidable year. I believe we were 23-6, yeah. 20-7.
And y'all played some legendary games. Y'all played Episcopal with Wayne Ellington, Gerald Henderson, Frankfurt, that Frankfurt game at LaSalle against Lewis Leonard. I mean, y'all had some legendary games, man. We
beat the Marsh Twins.
Yeah, at the Charter. I was there as well.
We probably beat the best team that we played all year without Tariq. Mm. We beat Stone Ridge.
Okay, wow. I wasn't at that game. Wow.
Napier played the point guard. We beat them at home. At that game, we couldn't play. I think he wasn't feeling well. Something happened where he wasn't feeling well, and it was one of the more competitive and formidable opponents that we faced. They had Boobie Gibson. No, not Boobie Gibson. No, not Gibson from Chicago that plays with the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah. I know you're talking about. Yep.
Taj Gibson.
And I know, man, I already know he was a beast in high school.
Yeah, well, so we beat them without all of our players. Actually, when we played against the Twins at the Palestra, we didn't have a full roster. Mm-hmm. We played against James Harden at Artesia. At Slam Dunk at the beach.
Dang, dog. Why would I miss that game? Dang,
man. Another fun fact. James Harden was not the featured player at Artesia.
Wow.
A kid named Malik Story was.
Malik Story.
Was the featured player for Artesia.
I got to write that down. Malik Story. And needless to say, after they handed us our heads at Slam Dunk to the Beach, I realized quickly that James Harden must have been the one who didn't have a dad in the stands, because he was the best player. No doubt.
But he wasn't being marketed that way.
No doubt.
And then I actually coached against James Harden again. I coached him again at the USC basketball camp. Mm-hmm. That I was invited to coach at, where a bunch of guys were there. Master P had a team there with the all-star from Toronto that plays for the Spurs now. He was at that camp. James Harden. There were a ton of players there. But we that year at American Christian, we faced a lot of seriously tough opponents. And I couldn't be more proud of those guys, man. Mm-hmm. Those guys bought in to the culture. They brought into the system. We prioritized integrity, love, accountability, and defense. Mm-hmm. So we were free flow offensively. The only thing that got you in trouble with me was a missed defensive assignment.
Gotcha.
That was, like I said, it was as valuable of a basketball experience as anything that I've had as a player.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, now look at the structured, ordained way that God operates. Who would think that you and I would be on this stage in this type of dialogue 15 years later?
All these years later. But I can tell you one thing. I remember possibly our first interaction around that time. you welcomed me, one, like I was family, two, like I belonged there. You greeted me just like you would greet me now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, get on the bus with us. Hey, coach, you know, you might pull you a second, got a second for a quick little interview. Oh, of course. You know what I'm saying? And just, breaking it down. Like you were helping to groom me. Those are one of my first experiences as like interviewing a coach behind the scenes, all that kind of stuff. So you were helping to groom me into what I'm doing now, as far as comfortable, interviewing coaches and all that kind of stuff. So that was actually the birth of Raw Sports. Because prior to that, I was actually still doing the hip hop, doing the rap stuff, doing Too Raw for the Streets then. So that was my transition. I love ball, I was always summer leagues, you know what I'm saying? But I started to, I had video cameras then. And so that was like my earlier times of like doing like the whole Raw Sports thing. It wasn't Raw Sports then, but that was the earlier kind of glimpses of me in this sports thing with the camera. So you helped the birth, man. That was my foundation right there. Following you guys, man, for sure.
Big Star, no words can express how humbled I am by that coming from you. And let me say to you, man, 90% communication is nonverbal.
Mm-hmm.
So the spiritual energy that comes before you greeted me before we ever said a word to one another.
No doubt.
All right. So and you'll find yourself having success in any space that you enter, brother, because your light comes before you.
No
and
doubt.
that's just a gift that you carry, right?
No doubt.
And that's light. And we all have it, but some of us illuminate. And there was no way that I could turn away your energy because, like I said at the time, it was bigger than basketball. I had made enough mistakes because the most knowledgeable person in the room is the one who's made the most mistakes. So whenever somebody tells me, "Oh man, you have a lot of wisdom," I take it with humility because I've made a lot of errors, right?
Gotcha.
I've learned from those things, but we don't lose. We either win or we learn.
That's right.
At that time, I was able to recognize the value of the light that you brought with you, man. And I knew that you were an asset to my space, whether we were at a basketball game or I bumped into you at a local Wawa, right? I would have recognized you as a spiritual energy that's beneficial to my space.
No doubt. That's a blessing, man. I'm super humbled by that, man. That's so encouraging. I appreciate that, man. It's funny. You never know the impact you have on people in the moment. So hearing things like this, man, and like you never know who's watching. You never know who's watching your interaction, and you never know the impact of interactions, that ripple effect. What they'll have, man. So that means a lot to me, man. I appreciate that, man. So all right, this is what we're gonna do. How about this? I think that's a perfect time for us because I don't want to continue getting into the flow of wrapping our conversation up and then have to pause because we're coming up on closing another hour out. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm gonna end this one and we're gonna come right back. We're gonna I'm gonna ask you a few more questions, but I'm gonna just turn you over to the people and just let you have a nice little dialogue with the people, and then we'll close out.
I see my guy Esco, Esco, God body, ultimate love and respect, baby.
No doubt. Hey, so we got about 40, almost 50 people in here again. Everybody, I'm gonna end this one. Y'all come right back because we're gonna end with a bang. The conversation's gonna get even crazier. Then I'm gonna let the people go back and forth, ask you, have a nice little Q&A with the people, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Hey, I'm gonna get a little bit of stuffed peppers, man, during the break.
Oh yeah. I need to see, I need to see. I need to see the taste test and all that kind of stuff. So when we come back, you know what I'm saying, I need to see that. So give me like a minute, and then we jump right back on.
Okay, baby.
All right. Hey, what's the deal, people? We back, man, for part 3 of Legends Week with my man Ray Carroll. If you guys have been tuned in, man, from the very start over the last 2 hours, man, this has been a tremendous treat. Whether you are a fan of basketball, I see my man Sam Sherry just jumped on. Hey, Sam, please stay locked, young fella. We about to wrap up with my man Ray Carroll, high school legend, Chester Clippers, man. You young players definitely need to be locked in and tuned into these conversations, man. These gems and these jewels from these legends, man. But if I appreciate all you guys that have been tuned in. If you've been tuned in from the very beginning, This has been tremendous, man. Ray is just a wealth of knowledge, man. His wisdom, his spirit, man. I mean, I'm just speechless, man. I don't even really know how to, like any words to really describe what this guy, what Ray Carroll, his value, to the hoop culture, to life in general, man. Just all the life lessons and gems, just his perspective on the world, how he processes things, how he processes his own, ups and downs. I mean, amazing, man. So it's definitely a treat, man. If you've been tuned in, man, so y'all make sure y'all keep it locked. Ray's we're gonna wrap up in a few minutes, and I'm if a nice little audience, built back up. We're gonna have a nice little Q&A, let you guys answer Ray some questions. So my man Ray, he said it's dinner time, so we impeding on his dinner time. Mo Nelson, what up, Mo? I see you, big dog. Jelon Bransford, what up, coach? It's a joint. It's a classic right here, man. Ray Carroll, man. He's about to join us. He was actually eating dinner, so he's doing his stuffed peppers thing. He's going to join us in a second. But I'm gonna just take this time to just mention a few announcements for anybody who's tuned into the Legends Week series for the very first time. This has been going on. This is week 5 or season 5 of Legends Week. If you go into my YouTube channel, Raw Sports Films on YouTube, or the website rawsports.tv, you'll be able to see all the past interviews I've had on Michael Jordan from Abington Friends, Katino Mobley, Rashid Bey was last night, Mark Jackson, Jared Kears, Marcus Green. I see my guy brother Spiz in the building. Mo Howard, Karan Burton, another Chester legend, Flip Murray, Ty Shine, Kareem Reed, Shea Cotton, the man-child, Billy Owens, Rashid Brookenborough, Donnie Carr. I mean, Legends Week has been going on, man, and tons more, man. Legends Week has definitely been going on, man. It's definitely popping. Sky's the limit. I definitely have a lot of, other ideas as it relates to Legends Week. And, God willing, once this pandemic thing is all over, I mean, I got some amazing ideas, man. So this is just the foundation, the blueprint that I'm creating right now, learning from this experience. And once the world is safe again, man, we gonna really turn up with this Legends Week thing, man. So I appreciate y'all, man, all y'all support. It's really about to get crazy. Trust me, man. All right, I see my man Ray is back. And I believe he got his stuffed peppers on. Hey Ray, send me another request so I can get you back in here. Let me see if I can get my here it come. Here's the request coming. Hey, so you where your stuffed peppers at, man? Where they at, man?
Man, it's a wrap.
That fast. Well, I gave you a nice little intermission time. I chose, I gave the people some information, and I said Ray's probably getting it in. He probably took a couple bites, but it's a wrap.
Man, hey, bro, I really appreciate. I thought about that. I said he's showing me a complimentary gesture, because I needed that little bit of extended time, man, because I had my birthday dinner sitting.
No,
right?
no, oh man, we interrupted your birthday dinner. You don't remember what was he 42, 40, 43?
43.
43. So you gonna remember this? You're never gonna forget this 43rd birthday.
Hey, Big Star. Let me say this to you in all sincerity, man. Probably the most special one in recent memory, man.
Wow.
No words to express how much I appreciate spending this time on this platform with you on this day.
My God.
And I'll leave it there, man.
That means a lot to me, man. That means a lot, man. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that, man. Hey, a couple more questions for you. And like I told the people before you jump back on, I'm gonna just turn it over to them, in a few seconds. Let them ask you some questions, man. I know a lot of good hoop junkies on here with a lot of good memories and everything. So if you can, man, what advice? I just have 2 more questions for you. Then I'm out the way. I'm gonna let you interact with the people. What advice would you give right now, with all the knowledge and the experiences that you've learned from? What if you could like the movie Back to the Future? If you could jump into the DeLorean with Marty McFly and go back to when you were 18, 19, 20 years old or whatever, what advice would you give to your younger self if you could go back and sit with 20-year-old Ray?
Oh man, I would take and sit him down and make him understand that there are certain absolutes in life and there are cheat codes if you abide by the absolutes. So you will always get out what you put in. Do not, the shortcut will never work. Your integrity and your selflessness are more important than your athletic ability. Be a good teammate and everything else will fall into place. It's a spiritual saying, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of these things will be handed unto you.
That's right.
And what I needed was an accountability boost. So I would probably tell my younger self, you're only going to get out what you put in. You're not a victim. Don't look to point fingers if things aren't going your way, because in every situation that you're disappointed about, you, my son, are the common denominator.
No doubt. No doubt. That's an amazing life lesson right there, man. I appreciate that, man. And then transition along, keep that same theme, you know, because we definitely got some you know, some young players that are watching right now. It's a young kid that jumped on. His name is Sam Sherry. He's going into his senior year. He goes to a Cumberland Valley High School out in the Harrisburg area. Really good player, man. So young players like that are listening. You know, we got, you know, Jameer Brickus from Coatesville. You know what I'm saying? A lot of good players in the area who need to hear this. Talk to these younger kids. Talk to the kids right now that are in, you know, 10th, 11th grade, trying to chase the scholarship. You know what I mean? Just give them some game, man. Some keys to success, and just talk to the younger players right now.
Man, strip yourself of yourself. Get out of your own way. Get lost into the process. You'll always get out what you put in. That's an absolute. You don't have to worry about the trust of and accountability of your work ethic, and the energy that you bring to your team supersedes you. So much more important than your skill development is the energy that you bring to the culture of your team. So prioritize your work ethic. Remove any conditions and hangups that you have in your mind away from yourself, because conditions and hangups are obstacles that stand in between you and your ordained purpose and your destiny. They give you excuses why not to do the things that are necessary to do to level up. So conditions and hangups will get you hung up.
No doubt.
Lose those conditions and hangups. Strip yourself of ego and remember that you always get out what you put in. If things aren't going your way, look within. The answer is always within. No one, unless you're in a rare circumstance, you're not under attack. Coach isn't mad at you. Coach doesn't not like you. Your habits and behavior don't like you. So get your habits and your behavior in a place that are beneficial to the growth and development of your spirit, man, and everything else is downhill, man. But unquestionably, lose all of your personal conditions and hangups.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, hey, man, that's a great place for us to end, man. The wisdom and the knowledge has been A1 top shelf, man. Thank you so much. Like I said, I can't thank you enough just for your time. I can't thank you enough. I value so much our relationship, man. Our spiritual connection, man. Appreciate you. I appreciate your pot. Listen, I've not, people say about myself, yo, Big Star, you possibly one of the most positive guys I've met. I'm like, nah, man, you got to meet my man, Ray Carroll, man. That's a positive brother, man. Always positive energy, always something encouraging to say, always, you know, looking to build, you know, an individual like myself up. I mean, I'm almost in tears, man, because I have so much love for you, man. And individuals like yourself are so valuable, man. We need more individuals like yourself. We need more men like you and families. Young men need more fathers like you. Siblings need more brothers like you. Kids in school need more teachers like you. Kids need more coaches like you. You're special, man. You're special, man. I appreciate you. I just appreciate your being, man. You're a blessed guy, man. I appreciate you, man.
Man, coming from you, that means everything, man. Everything. And I appreciate that the affirming words. Believe you me, man, because you know, there are circumstances that I face personally that are they present themselves as trial. So those words, those uplifting words and your affirmations don't fall, they fall on appreciative soil. Thank
No
you,
doubt.
man. Thank
No
you.
doubt. Hey, well, we got a week. And I just want to shout out to the people, man. Quick shout out to the people, all the viewers. We've had a consistent, amazing crowd of people interacting, helping us out when we've had brain freezes. They throwing us the answers. So shout out to all y'all, man. Real quick. Okay, here we go. Start typing your questions for Ray right now. We're gonna have a few minutes. Let Ray go back and forth with the people. Start typing all your questions, and Ray is gonna Ray. We love you too, Ray Strickland. Appreciate you, big dog. Mo Nelson, Ray Strickland. All y'all start typing some questions, and my man Ray Carroll's gonna answer them. All right, here we go. Keith 219. Top 5 Philly guys you ever played with or against?
Top 5 Philly guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to include She because I was a sophomore. So I'll start from 94. Terrell Stokes, Rashid Brokenborough, Donnie Carr, Kobe Bryant, Larry Kettner.
Wow. Legends. All legends. All legends.
May God rest his soul, Larry Kettner. Rest in power, King.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Larry Kettner. Chocolate Boy Wonder 11 says, what was life like in the Bronx, spiritually, socially, and basketball-wise, coming from a small city like Chester?
Oh man, it was like I forgot
Fordham. That's in the Boogie Down. That's in the Boogie Down, bro.
That's a phenomenal question, man. I tell you what, it was like being dropped into an abyss of small Chesters. So that the cultures. Chester's a small city, 4 square miles. So the Bronx consists of an unlimited amount of 4 square mile territorial areas, right? Where you can get into pretty much anything you want to. So things didn't change that much as it relates to the spiritual entities that you face and come in contact with. It was just on a much larger and broader scale. Right? Whatever it is that you were bringing to the table, you could get into a lot more of it. Good or bad.
No doubt. Hey, come on, people. We got a gifted mind here. If anybody has any questions, even nothing doesn't even have to be related to basketball. A life question, anything. Y'all throw it at my man Ray Carroll, man, and I guarantee you'll love the response. I got something. What do you think about kids these days, especially basketball players, and in conjunction with like social media? You know what I'm saying? How is it helpful, harmful? You got kids that are like they got millions of followers on social media, but then they got the highlight reels, and then you see them. It's like, hey, what I mean? What do you think about social media in conjunction with basketball? Positive, negative, anything?
It's a 6 one way, half dozen another thing. It's in some aspects, I think it's extremely beneficial. I can only imagine how beneficial it would have been for me to have a social media platform to market my skill set.
Gotcha.
Back then everything was based on tapes. Coaches had a lot more control.
And word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Because sometimes if your best games weren't in circulation, then that was just the bad luck that the luck of the draw for your particular experience. But I think that it's a positive platform because whatever you're looking for, you can draw. But I think, and at the same token, I think the negative impact can be much more extreme than anything that we've ever experienced because, for a young person that's in the process of maturing, and they have a bunch of fans, 90% of whom in which know nothing about the game, that are telling them how good they are and just tooting their horn, then it could be a bad impression to give them a false sense of success and increase their ego to the capacity where it's unhealthy for their growth and development.
Gotcha.
So, you know, it's 6 one way, half dozen another. I will say that in this day and age of social media, if there's a young athlete that has a social media or that is on the radar athletically, they need guidance from mature sources more than ever before.
Yep. 100%. SP underscore SR says, it's a great question. I should have thought about this as well to ask you. What are your thoughts on the high-profile high school players going to HBCUs opposed to the top D1 programs? It's a hot topic right now.
Okay, I love you. Pardon me, Big Star, one more time. My mother took precedence.
Oh, take your time, King. It's your birthday. We're on your time, King.
One more time. It was HBCU.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. You know the hot topic now. You know, with the one kid going to Howard or whatever. What are your thoughts about high-profile players going to black college? Opposed to the D1 programs, big D1 programs.
My prayer is that becomes an epidemic.
No doubt.
I would love to see it happening more consistently. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of times the facilities and the amenities that are available at those historically black colleges aren't the same as, okay, love you, Dad. Love you, man. My dad.
Hey, what's up, Pop? How you doing, man?
Okay, much love to you guys, man.
Much love to you too, man.
Yeah. Hey. Before we leave, I got something else that I want to give you in reference to my father. Take a good look at him. Take a good look at him, right?
I see it.
Let me give you this.
Yes.
Go ahead, Dad. May 31st, my father had a stroke.
Wow.
He was blind and paralyzed on his right side. Today, July 21st, you just saw it for yourself.
Wow.
The favor and the covering on our lives when we find optimism and silver linings in the midst of trial.
Oh, that's miraculous. That's miraculous favor right there, man.
Hey,
wow. Amazing, man. A walking miracle, man.
Hey, big bro, I love it. I know a lot of times the amenities that are available at these schools aren't the same, but because these guys are on a platform where they have the authority, I think that it does make sense. I'm not saying that they should stage a coup, but as often as, I'm not against the big universities or the traditionally large universities, but why not build up the platform where we have authority? Because the talent is predominantly coming from our culture. So it's going to benefit our culture in terms of it's going to give us more resources for children that aren't athletes, more resources for mental growth and mental wellness if our culture keeps our talent in circulation. Right? That's nothing against any other culture. It's just that we're in a season where if we have the opportunity to benefit our own growth and development, by all means, I support that. I support that. No strike against a kid that decides to go to an historically large school, but I will salute those that make the sacrifice and go to HBCU route. You know, the bottom line is that basketball is a business. It's not going to impact your stock. You know, if you're going to be one and done at Duke, you'll be one and done at Cheney.
No doubt. I love it. I love it. Quiet Riot LLC says, whose game from Chester High do you see or have you seen over the years after yourself flashes of your own style of play, if at all?
Man, the guys that played with me would probably tell you. You know, with my style of play, the amount of guards that I played with, and you know, the era that I played in, I haven't really seen my make and model
Okay.
at Chester High. Oh, I'll tell you what. My guy, I tried to, I think he was a little bit more explosive off 2 feet, but my little brother Nas,
Nasir Robinson. Yeah.
but I would say I was more of a pure shooter and he was more explosive.
Got you.
Right? I would say that. He had more explosion
Yep.
and I was more of an effective shooter.
Got you. YOLO with my 2 boys wanted to know, what do you think of the reasons that Chester produces so much basketball talent over the years?
Man, you know, that's something that's beyond me. That's a mystery. I know. I'll say this. Besides the answer of there's something in the drinking water.
No doubt.
I'll say that it's got a lot to do with the strength of the grassroots programs. So Chester Biddy League is where it starts. So I think that if you look around the country at areas where there's strong athletes coming out of any particular sport, the grassroots program associated with that sport is pretty strong.
Gotcha.
So I think that Chester Biddy has a great deal to do with that. And also, by there only being one school,
gotcha,
all of the talent is in one
to that same
now,
place.
What's happened, as time has gone on, most of our best players leave and go to Catholic League now.
Yeah.
So Chester, you're not necessarily seeing the best talent in the city of Chester like you would have some years ago.
Like Derek Jones, Derek Jones was from Chester. A lot of them guys from Chester, yeah.
Shep Garner.
Yeah, Chester with the Roman. He was from Chester. Yep. For sure. Yep. Yeah. Imagine if all those guys over the years would have stayed at Chester. Chester would never, would always be in the runnings for going to Hershey.
Well, the year that I coached, I had talked with, you think Tyreek Evans and Nasir Robinson. Nasir came back. That would have been Karan Burton, Tyreek Evans, Nasir Robinson, Russell Johnson, and Raleigh Johnson. Raleigh Jefferson. Smith.
Crazy.
Hollis Jefferson. Hollis Jefferson, Russell Johnson, Tyreek Evans, Nasir Robinson, Karan Burton.
Several pros, dog.
Yeah.
Crazy,
so
crazy.
Does Norristown have a strong grassroots program as well?
It's growing. It's growing and it's coming back because you have the right individuals involved with the youth now, and it's coming back. And it started with, I guess the catalyst was my man Binky Johnson getting the head, Norristown basketball job, and then him kind of revamping everything from the grassroots and redoing the whole structure, just like you're talking about now. So it's definitely coming back. The tradition's coming back. The pride of wanting to be a Norristown Eagle, it's all coming back. It's all coming back because they got the right people in place now, for sure.
Man, pray for the same for our city. I mean, we got a phenomenal coach right now at the helm, Keith Taylor. Keith Taylor actually coached me at Chester High. That's how long he's been around. And his heart is in the right place. He's dedicated. Kenny Tate's there. My man Marvin Dukes. Man, I'm leaving somebody out, man, I know. But the committee that's there now are dedicated to the right things as it relates to the growth and development of the youth. And my prayer is that our program is back on the radar and as powerful as it once was, man.
No doubt. My man James Nelson Stewart, he said he brought up a memory. He said he remember you stripped Kobe and dunked on them at the district championship game.
Hey, and at Conshohocken too.
Wow.
At Conshohocken, it was more vivid. The district championship game, I didn't dunk on him. But at Conshohocken, Mike Jordan, who else? Julius Irving, Tamir Harbin, they can attest to this. No, now this was immediate pluck to the bounce off the one step, two hand, flush. And I think he chased me, bro. I think he chased me.
Yo, legendary, man. Legendary.
Hey,
Legendary.
that one slipped away from us, Big Star. I'm going to say this again, formal for the record. Positive Image versus Sunny Hill Juniors, 10 games, we win 9.
I love it. I love it, man. You're going to have me saying that all week. 10 games, we win 9.
We just
I love it.
we just happened to lose that one.
I love it. I love it. Hey, my man Phil from the Shipley School, coach of the Shipley School, said any memorable experiences versus Academy Park.
Oh, yeah, man. My junior year, when we won the state championship, Academy Park beat us at Chester High.
Mm-hmm.
But we beat them at Academy.
Is that when Swan was there? Dewan Wesley?
Swan G's, Mike Tag,
my God,
yeah. Shannon Overton.
Okay.
Right? Willard Ramseur.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They beat us at Chester High. Now, here's why I'm going to put an asterisk on that loss. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't play us that night. They played us at 3:30 in the afternoon, right after school.
Oh, wow. Right after school, huh?
Yeah. See, if they come to the clip joint anytime after school, they get spanked.
It's a different atmosphere.
Total different. They snuck in there in the afternoon and got one out of there. Respect.
Yo, crazy. That's crazy, man. Hey, anybody got any more questions? Hey, James Nelson Stewart, anybody? Hey, we got a legendary TV production crew in the building. We got the Real Gully TV. You know, he's doing all the hip hop stuff. Shout out to you, man. Anybody, I mean, we have an amazing mind in the building, man. One more good question for my man Ray Carroll. Somebody's thinking of something, Ray. They're about to type it. I know it's coming. Until they get their question, man. Any last words, any things you want to say before we close out, man?
Man, just thank you. Thank you. There are no words to accurately express my appreciation for you, this platform, and the now. Glory to God.
No doubt, no doubt. Appreciate you, man. I don't see any more questions, man. So I guess I'll let you go, man. Again, if anybody doesn't know, today is Ray Carroll's birthday, his 43rd birthday, man. He chose it to spend it with us here on Legends Week, man. Wifey was in the building. His pop, just saw his pop, tip out, man. Man, thanks for spending your 43rd birthday with us, with me and Big Star and here and the whole Raw Sports family on Legends Week, man. I'm honored, man.
Thank you for having me, bro. Ultimate love and respect to you, man. Salute. And look, this is not it for us. I'm going to make sure that we maintain a consistent line of communication outside of this platform, man. Yeah.
100%, man. You got my man. We definitely got to stay in contact, man. Definitely got to continue to build and sharpen each other, mentally, physically, and, spiritually, man. 100%, man. Thank you again. And just to let you know, this entire interview is going to be up on my YouTube channel probably tomorrow or the next day. I'm going to, chop it up, upload the entire video to my YouTube channel. I'll send you the link so that you can continue to share, send this story out, and we can just keep it going, man. Your story is going to be there, immortalized forever, man. It's going to be up there, man.
Man, love. Send the family my highest regard. All of my love and my energy is sent towards you and your family, man. I know that you guys are blessed in the moment. May you continually be blessed, man. And everybody that tuned in tonight, took part in this with us, man. Thank you. It's like I say, the appreciation and heart posture is in a place of gratitude, man.
No doubt. Hey, one last question. I thought of something else. What of the Legends Week stories, the interviews, Flip Murray, Donnie Carr, you've been on pretty much all the nights. I've seen you commenting and interacting. Which one of the interviews have stuck out to you? Some of your that you've enjoyed.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. It's funny, man. The way that you carry the interviews, it's phenomenal. It's must see TV.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, it's must see TV. The protocol that you adhere to as it relates to, everybody, of course, we have a natural chemistry, and everybody that knows me know that I enjoy communicating. But even the individuals who may not be natural communicators, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you throw them a jelly preserver, man. I
No
mean, the way
doubt.
that you operate, I've enjoyed every single interview. I know Marvin O'Connor stuck out to me because I was so impressed at how he's transitioned into the
Yeah.
business world.
Yes,
You know?
yes, yes, for sure.
And I'm actually I'm picking from those different interviews and applying it to my life because I'm trying to increase my entrepreneurial activity. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yep, yep.
Things that we can pass on to our children. I mean, we
That's
can't
right.
pass what big raw sports. You can't pass a job at the corporate plantation down to your children, but you can
Exactly.
pass your own brand down. So I think
Exactly. Yep.
our culture, that needs to be a focus, and the standard that you set is a beautiful one, a beautiful mark of excellence. You are the poster boy for excellence in the urban community.
Thank you so much, man. That's a blessing, man. That's so encouraging to me, man. I'm just speechless, man. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Yeah, bro.
No doubt. So we're gonna close out, man. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless your family, man. Again, happy birthday to you, man. And hey, Legends Week. We right back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. I got another legend lined up. I'll make the announcement of who it is tomorrow. Ray, man, come on back tomorrow, man, and hear some more stories, man.
You know I'll be here, man. Love.
Much love. Much love. Hey, what's the deal, people?